Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is August the 26th. There's only 2 games in the W for today. So, we're going to jump right into them for today. First one up. Well, actually, I don't have a recap. I didn't bet anything. Did not bet anything yesterday. Had I bet, would have split, went 1-1. Connecticut did end up covering. Probably, a lot closer than a lot of people think. Lacan doesn't have that ball go off her knee, because I think it did go off her knee. They got a chance to potentially steal that game after the Liberty couldn't score the basketball, and then the Aces team total up and over. They just kind of ran out of gas. I think they only scored like 34 points in the second half. So shout out to Chicago for actually playing some defense. First time in a while that we saw them, kind of lock up a team, and they did slow the Aces down and cover that spread last night. So I didn't bet anything yesterday, but like I said, had I did, I would have went 1-1. Hit the like button for me as you join. Definitely helps out the show, helps out the algorithm. Share the show, all that good stuff, and let's jump into it. So first up, we'll start with Jackson. Jackson had 2 plays yesterday. Jackson, like Angel Reese, over her 25.5 points plus rebounds, was a winner. She finished with 27. Marina Mabry, over her 9.5 rebounds and assists, was a loser. She finished with 7. So split for Jackson yesterday as well. As far as today's look, of course, there's a link in the description if you guys want to check out Jackson. Jackson is an AI sports betting software tool that you guys can utilize to handicap player prop side totals over under any sport that you can think of. So use the link in the description. First up, we will go over to LA. Kelsey Plum, over her 23.5 points plus rebounds. So it says this prop on Kelsey Plum is in the Phoenix Mercury and Los Angeles Sparks game. Looks very promising. So we start with her recent performance, and it says that she's been on absolute tear, hitting over 100% of her last 5 games, averaging a robust 28 points plus rebounds in that span. Over her last 10 games, she's maintained an impressive 80% hit rate, averaging 24.6 points plus rebounds. At home, she's hitting 55.8% of the time, averaging 23.6 when playing at home during this season. Okay, so then she's hit the over 68.75% of the time, averaging 24.6 points plus rebounds, which is comfortably above this line as well. So those are season long and then home games as well. Matchup, while the Phoenix Mercury defense against her position ranks 8th, indicating a strong defensive matchup. Her recent form and consistency, especially at home, suggests she can overcome this challenge. Her average over the last 5 games consistently higher than the prop line, showing strong momentum. The next player prop is actually one that I like a lot as well, and it's Satu Sabally. Same game for the Phoenix Mercury. Satu over her 21.5 points plus rebounds. It says her recent performance, she has been outstanding. She has an outstanding record against the Sparks, and this is what I saw as well. This season, she's hit the over in both games, averaging an impressive 31.5 points plus rebounds. This is well above the 21.5 line. Her performance last season, 24-25 season, shows 100% hit rate, averaging 24 as well, points plus rebounds. While her overall hit rate in the last 5 and 10 games show just 20 and 30% respectively, her season-long hit rate of 58.06, averaging 23.26. This is indicative of her general performance well over the course of the season. So then you got we don't got to talk about the Sparks defense. We know how bad that's been. So yeah, Jackson just has some more stuff. But yeah, I like the side 2 look. We're actually going to talk about that one when we get to that game. So that's Jackson. Check it out. If you want to tell the plays, tell them. If you don't, fade them. All right, let's jump into the matchups. First one we got up is the Storm and the Fever. This line opened about 3.5, and it's up to 4. It looks like it's consensus. And in total, I do feel like going up is the right thing, is what it should do. I think I saw this total. Let me just go back to my notes real quick. I saw 163.5, but I'm seeing it open at 162.5. So this has been bet up 5 points, and I absolutely agree. So we look at the injury report. Only Chloe Bibby is out for the Fever. Storm don't have anybody on the injury report. Of course, no Caitlin Clark. Indiana is still trying to integrate, some new bodies over there with Odyssey Sims, and they got a lot of pieces that they're trying to integrate over there due to all the injuries. So the question you got to ask yourself is, can you lay 4 points with Seattle on the road? And I would be in the camp to say no. I just watched Seattle play against the Washington Mystics, and they had the rest advantage. Washington was playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. They couldn't get the job done. I think, looking at the standings, the first thing I want to talk about is where these teams kind of rank, right? So we know Seattle is they were free falling, but they've actually won a couple games in a row now. They won 3 in a row, and the Fever are doing the opposite, right? Fever have lost their last 2. They're only 4-6 in the last 10, which is the worst record of any of the teams that are currently in the playoff ranking. So just to give you guys an update for people who aren't paying attention, the Indiana Fever currently sit in 8th, and this was a Fever team that was all the way up to, I want to say, 4th. And they've kind of, like just not been able to kind of put it together as of late. So this is going to be a tough game, but do I want to lay points with the Storm on the road? No. So the Fever, they did win both of the first matchups, won both of them in Seattle. Both of them, they were dogs. Seattle also just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. If without the shot from Neca the other day in DC, they could potentially lose that game. And that was a Mystics team, like I said, is on the second leg of a back-to-back. So even though they've won 3 in a row and they've won 4 of their last 5, they aren't really covering. Just 1-3 against the spread in their last 4 games. And also, this is their 4th straight road game that they played of their last 5 games and 7 of their last 10 games. This will be 7th game of attempt of their last 10 games to be played on the road. So I know the Fever are not necessarily, playing well right now. They're just 3-7 in their last 10 games, back-to-back losses, but they lost to Minnesota twice after beating Connecticut. They have failed to cover their last 5, but I would take the home dog, especially, knowing that if the Fever lose this game and the Sparks potentially win the game against the Mercury, then the Fever will be out of the playoffs because the Sparks do own a tiebreaker over the Fever. So Fever got to put it all on the line tonight at home, behind that crowd. I think the Storm can come out here with like a 1-point win or a 2-point win. The bigger the line gets, the more I want to take the Fever. That's my thought process on this game. As far as the total goes, I said I like the over. I agree with the over. And that's just because the Fever, what we've seen for them, they're playing super fast. They're playing no defense. They played 4 straight overs since the injuries have started to pile up. They've given up 88 points or more in 4 straight games. Outside of slowing down Dallas and holding them to 60 points 2 games ago, which was the Seattle Storm, Seattle's actually given up 82 points in 3 straight in 7 of their last 8 as well. So I really want to get there with the over. Now, do I hate that I've missed 5 points? Yes, absolutely. But it's over or nothing, and it's Fever or nothing for me in this game. All right, next one up we have is the Mercury and the Sparks. This also has shot up, right? So injury report for this one. Mercury, I don't think they have anybody yet. Clean injury report on both sides of this game at the time of this recording, which is about 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So line is shot up, right? This opened like 170. I wrote 174 in my notes. Maybe it might have even been lower than that. But up to 178 and a half now. Like I said, no injuries. So the Mercury have won both of the matchups so far this season. They were both played on or before June the 1st. So you got to take those with a grain of salt because it's about 2.5 months later now. We look at this Mercury team. They're actually starting to play a little bit better now. They have won 3 of their last 4. They come in well rested, 3 days of rest. And the Sparks are just not a good defensive team. That's why you can't really lay too many points with them. Do we think that they can cover this game as a 4-point dog, though? That's the thing you got to ask yourself. At home in general, the Sparks just haven't been good. They're 5-12 against the number. They've alternated wins and losses in their last 7 games. Most recently, they did beat the Wings by 1 point when they were laying 8. They've been off since last Wednesday, and they failed to cover for their 4 straight games in 5 of their last 6. So Sparks really need this one because if they can somehow, like I said, pull off a win and the Fever lose to the Storm, then the Sparks will be in the 8th spot. And it'll be the first time that the Sparks will be in the 8th spot, I want to say all season, because they started the season off super terrible. But I just can't, I can't trust the Sparks defensively, so it immediately makes me want to go to the Mercury and take their team total over. The Mercury's offense has not been great. We can see it in the number here, the 7th in offensive rating on the full season. But does that really matter, right? Like, this one thing we know for sure, 2 things we know for certain is the Sparks don't really want to guard anybody. They're not out there to play defense. They're 12th in defensive rating on the full season, 13th in the last 10 games, and 12th in the last 5 games. For people who don't know, there's only 13 teams in the league. So the Sparks defense plays super fast. You can see that they're, 2nd in pace. The Mercury going to pace up as well. They're 3rd in pace, and they don't play any defense. So I immediately wanted to look towards a Mercury team total up and over. I think the Sparks can contribute. I know that Mercury had been a pretty good defensive team as of late, but I think that this game could go up and over the number. With the Sparks having so much rest, I almost want to bet the Mercury early in this game as well. I feel like I don't trust either one of these teams to kind of close the game. But I do think I trust the Mercury a little bit more to potentially get a stop. And then the other thing is the Sparks are one of the more offensively talented teams in the WNBA. Like they got Rickea Jackson, and they got Kelsey Plum, and they got Dearica Hamby, and Azurá Stevens is my girl off the bench, and like Julie Ottoman is like an assist machine. But the Mercury got a lot of players that can score the basketball as well, right? Alyssa Thomas is in the MVP conversation. Satou Sabally we just talked about. Kahleah Copper's, like they're kind of getting into a rhythm and into a groove. So I think the Mercury can win this game. I think they'll, at the end of the buzzer, will it be by 5 points or more? I can see it. That's the only way I kind of want to look. I just don't want to play the Sparks because I know that their defense can absolutely get smoked. That's what it really comes down to for me. The numbers that I gave you guys for the Sparks as far as their defensive rating also correlates with the points that they're giving up, right? So they're either last or second to last in the full season, last 10 games and last 5 games. They just don't stop anybody. So the Mercury's team total is like 90.5. I think both teams can contribute. I want to take over. And I think I want to look a little bit more towards the Mercury. It's a tough game, to be honest. It's a tough game. But I think the Mercury can come in here and win this game by 2 possessions against the worst defensive team in the WNBA, in my perspective. As far as player props, I told you guys I wanted to look at Miss Sabally. So we go over really quickly. Haven't really talked too much about player props recently, but if we go over and look at side 2, this is This is Outlier. There's a link in the description where you can get a 7-day free trial if you're interested in checking it out. You can see Satou has struggled, right? Recently, 4 straight unders, 5 of her last 6 games, she stayed under 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of her last 14, she stayed under this number of 21.5 points plus rebounds. But you can take it a little bit of grain of salt, right? First of all, first thing I looked at was the opponent, right? So recently she's been playing against some pretty tough opponents. We know Golden State's a really good defense. They're top 3. The Aces all of a sudden are playing really good defense as well. Before that, she played against the Valkyries again, so 3 straight unders. Then Seattle, which we don't know how good Seattle is defensively. I think Seattle is good, but then they have times where they can't stop anybody either. So, she's been playing against some really good defenses. The last time she played against the Sparks, though, if we just look at head-to-head meetings, she's played against them twice this season, and you can see that she smoked them in both of them, 30 and 33. So I do think Satou 21.5 is just extremely low, and I think we're getting a discount because she struggled in the last 2 games and in her last few games. So we can come over here and see points allowed that the Sparks give up the most points in the WNBA. You can see that 88.5. It feels like Alyssa Thomas has been carrying the weight a lot of the season. This seems like a prime spot for Satou Sabally to be able to get right. I do think that she's the second best rebounder on the team as well, outside of Alyssa Thomas. So I think she's going to be able to go down there and grab some boards as well to help this team, help her team on the glass in this game. So that's my thought process. I would take and combine the points plus rebounds for Satou in this game. That's how I kind of see it. So let me just put this back on the screen. Screen back. All right, cool. So if I'm recapping, first game, Indiana plus the points, man. I'm not laying with Seattle on the road. I think India will keep this game close, especially given what they have to fight for in this game. And then I think last game, it'd just be over. Phoenix team total, I think they can get to 90, 91, 92 points potentially in this game. I do think it's going to be played fast, and Satou over her points plus rebound. So that's it for the show today. Best of luck on your action. Resources all linked in the description of the video. Hit the like button on the way out. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification bell on. All that good stuff. Enjoy your Tuesday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.